Coast to Coast. Your coast-to-coast source for wedding planning and info is live. The Weddingzilla Podcast. The Weddingzilla Podcast. Everything and everyone you need to hear while planning your wedding. Or even just thinking about it. The Weddingzilla Podcast. Featuring interviews and advice from some of the top professionals in the wedding industry. Connect. Facebook. Instagram. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. At The Weddingzilla. At The Weddingzilla. And even submit ideas for future episodes. Welcome to the Weddingzilla Podcast.
Hello. This is Wyatt checking in from California. How you
Hello,
doing,
Matt
Matt?
Johnson checking in from the Washington, D.C. area. You're on the East Coast. And welcome, Wyatt, and welcome to Weddingzilla.com here tonight.
Yes. So today we have a special guest. We have Lorenzo, who does Screaming Lunatic Design Agency, and he also has Sophia plus Abby, which he does wedding invitations, wedding design for print media, as well as electronic media as well. So, how you doing, Lorenzo?
Good, guys. How are you doing? Matt, Wyatt?
Lorenzo,
Doing well.
Here tonight, fellow New Jerseyan.
Yes, sir. Is everybody a special guest, or am I truly a special? Well, we'll see how this podcast goes, right?
You are
how
just truly a special guest here tonight. There's only
Well,
one.
thank you for having me on.
Well, I guess you're special if you're not regular, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yes.
So, Lorenzo, how are you doing? Because I heard on your on the different podcasts that you do, no one ever asks you how you doing. So, how you doing?
It's funny you ask. I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking, Wyatt. I don't know why you would, but thank you for asking.
So I know you recently went to Disney World, and you said it was a fantastic time.
Publicly, I said that. Yes, I did say that. I had a couple of minor gripes that were small, and it was more so on the business and marketing side, and it was based upon the hefty cost it is to go to Disney. But yes, as a general vacation family, it was fantastic. Yes, with my 6-year-old daughter and my wife.
Well, I guess if you compared that to weddings, I mean, weddings can be a hefty cost, and I guess couples might not have a good time at their wedding too, possibly.
That is true. Although I don't know if I can go on Wedding Wire and complain about the Disney part of it, but yes, both are hefty cost, and for me, both it's one time only.
Now, I know. I mean, I know a little bit of background about it because I do listen to some of your podcasts. But
yes.
Elaborate on one of your gripes about Disney World.
Oh, I'm gonna be entered into your podcast world as the guy who griped about Disney, the most magical place. Well,
I think there's a connection. I think there's a connection
Okay. I'm gonna
to one
follow
of your
you.
complaints, which I I'm just gonna give the lead in. So I think one of your concerns was in some of the rides, and I think it was in a specific part of the park, there was like zero entertainment while you waited in line for an obscene amount of time. Correct?
Yes. So props to my wife, who fast passed the heck out of everything, even times that I didn't think she could. So in truth, we only waited maybe 15, 20 minutes for any one ride, except for one that we had to wait 55 minutes or so. With that said, I noticed, especially if you guys are familiar with where you can go meet the individual characters, because they don't walk around Disney, which was surprising to me. They do it so you have to go into certain places and wait online to meet, Mickey or whoever it may be. The thing that I found fascinating was in every one of those spots, whether I was waiting 15 minutes or the one that was waiting nearly an hour, in some cases we were just in an empty room, and it was, the ropes were let up so we could line up throughout, but there was zero entertainment. When I say zero, I mean no music, no TV, no characters making balloons, no nothing. So you had sometimes up to 150 people, of which usually half were people under 7 years old, in a room for an hour. And for Disney, that blew me away.
Yeah, you would expect a whole lot more from that.
Yes, especially considering they do so much.
Coming out from the wall woodwork.
Yeah. So I just think that Disney is so smart that they know something I don't know, which apparently maybe they enjoy having 50 kids running around for an hour. I don't know, but that was very eye opening for me as something that they miss on.
Well, and I guess that's something to think about if you're a wedding couple and you're inviting 150 guests, and if I know it doesn't happen as much with me, but I do know that for some couples trying to save money, they'll skip having music during their cocktail hour,
Hmm.
and it'll just be like dead silence.
Yeah, that's at least my experience as a former DJ. Even if going back to the 90s, we ran the wire and put a speaker in there and played it off of back then the iPod or small Pioneers, even if they didn't book it. Um, I think you need music and a bar at all events. Those are two key things. Open bar, preferably.
Correct. But it just goes to show you. I mean, that's obviously a miss, from Disney. But
Yeah.
just if it was that big of a deal, I mean, something that you noticed is waiting there. So think about your guests at different segments of your event, and I guess I don't know that we need to, if couples need to entertain their guests the whole time, but there's definitely there shouldn't be large gaps of nothing going on.
It can be challenging, yeah. You would think that, especially if, it depends on who you ask, but sometimes, especially in Jersey, if you have a light cocktail hour in terms of food, I know plenty of people who don't write their check as they do in New Jersey as a gift until they see cocktail hour. Um, so if you're going to go with, if you can't afford it, things like that, and you're going to have light, even asking your DJ to run a speaker in there, if whatever it costs, a couple $100 or however it is, I think just to, if you want to say enhance possibly a drink or two in everybody to get them moving around or eat so they're not starving. But music is the centerpiece of any wedding. Take it from me, whether I'm biased or not, I don't know. But without music, you're just in a room eating.
Yeah, Lorenzo, I don't think you're biased. My career started in New Jersey, and back in the late '90s, we pretty much offered cocktail if we could book the client, pretty much for nothing. I mean,
Yeah,
he would say the owner would say, "What would it? What's a word to just put up a speaker and plug in? Back then you would put a cocktail mix into a speaker and walk away and set up your main system." Just so they, had some background music. It really was a low effort job to book the gig.
yeah, I agree. I think it actually goes more deeper than that. Even I think it's the business mindset of the company, because I know that I used to work with one DJ who back in the day when they had the derby lights and the snowflake lights, right? And that's all we kind of had.
Right.
That if the bride and groom didn't book it, he said basically, "F it, I'm not bringing it." And our logic was, well, you might think that way, but it looks better on us with lights. So we wanted you to book, obviously, and that was a big thing to get
Right.
the lighting and stuff. But those lights were showing up with even a derby on the floor and two snowflake lights, regardless of whether you paid for it or not, because it looks better on us. So I just think sometimes it's even a mindset there where people or DJs may say, well, they didn't book it, so I'm not playing the music in cocktail hour. And, it's Wyatt and I have talked about photo booths even like that. It doesn't make sense. Like if you want to be bitter against your client, you're probably not going to last long in this industry anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. I would absolutely, if I have to be there, let's say their reception doesn't start till cocktail hours from 5 to 6, and I really don't start from 6 to 10. I have no problem getting there because I'm going to be there at 3:30 anyway. I'll throw a speaker in the other room. Here's your speaker. Here's your sound cocktail mix, and roll in and set up my main system. And the cocktail hour's going on, and everybody's happy. It's a win-win situation, I think, for everybody.
It's a no-brainer. Now, the brides shouldn't take that as advice to not book anything and then hope that your DJ does it. unless you're going to book Matt or Wyatt, I guess. But don't, I think you guys would do the better thing and, run a speaker in there. But it really, it doesn't make sense because even though you're on from, it's almost like not doing practice for the big game. Like if you're there already and you want to get the right audience at the best time possible, why wouldn't you just go put music in there? It's like practice, get them ready, warm them up, and then you bring them in with a better mood. So to me, it's just like not even a second thought to do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it goes back to my brand, just like you said. I mean, the lights made it look better, and I, not to say that I'm like you said, give free lights to all the clients.
No, it's just within reason. But back then, those lights, it was either no lights or like those, dinky lights. Now it's so sophisticated that you're coming in and they could enhance their package to be like a concert if they wanted to. We're not talking that. We're talking within reason, of course. Yeah.
Right, within reason.
Yes.
I think there's certain things that I guess I want my brand to, you're right. Like I've made the conscious decision that no, a cocktail hour is going to have music. So I don't care, what price you paid. If you book me, there's a certain standard that I know it's just automatically going to get that.
Yeah, I just as someone, if I ran, I would just like not even make it an upgrade. I would add X amount to the package cost and make it as part of it because, especially in Jersey, if you're driving on the Parkway, the Turnpike, you have to leave the day before basically to get there on time anyway. So you're going to be there anyway. You might as well do something.
Call it.
Exactly. And then if it enhances the event and it was something that they didn't think was covered, I mean, it's just that extra cushion for brownie points, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Now, segueing, kind of talking about, standards and what have you, which comes to kind of somewhat of branding and going with, your expertise in design and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
What are the trends, I guess you could say, or what are important things if you're a wedding couple, as far as, making your event seem somewhat, if you're trying to go with a theme, what are key elements to kind of make it consistent?
Well, I think, you have to first, and I'm always conscious of this, is price, right? You have to understand that speaking of where I come from with weddings, after DJing for many years, now with Sophia plus Abby doing day of designs like reception menus and wedding programs, but also doing custom invitations. If are you speaking to that particularly that topic right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, a couple of things to keep in mind when you're going through the websites where you can kind of plug and play your information for invitations, as an example. The tricks that they use are one is they'll call it custom, which is, as we say in Jersey, fugazi as can be, because everything is custom because it has your name on it. So it's not really custom. You're picking from a template.
Right.
What ends up happening is usually the bride sees what they like, they get excited, they go through this process online, which sometimes takes 20 minutes to 45 minutes of them filling out the particulars of the invitation, and they're seeing their price, and it's the cost of $1.68 per invitation, and they're excited. And then they get to the checkout, and all of a sudden you see, oh, would you like RSVP envelopes? Would you like an RSVP? Would you like a reception card? On and on and on. And you're already kind of past the dating phase of doing this process 45 minutes in, and you're like, ugh, I thought I was going to be at $500, and now I'm at $850.
Right.
So those two concepts, the one of getting you in and doing that, and also calling it custom, it's not custom. They're putting you, or at least in my eyes, it's not custom. They're basically taking a template, which I don't begrudge the business, but they kind of make it seem like you can change a color here and there. But in essence, the only custom part is the information that you actually put in there. So I would just know that ahead of time. Pinterest is the gift and the curse that keeps on giving. It's great visuals, and as a designer and a marketing guy, I can tell you that I can make any invitation look like it's $1 million with a little bit of a vignette shadow and an angle. And what ends up happening is a lot of the Pinterest stuff gets recirculated, but really those invitations are one of a kind, individually custom made, cost $3,000, and they see mimics of it online, and I would always tell you, if you're going to go through those websites to order anything, always Etsy, everything, order a sample immediately, because the paper quality that you will end up with versus what it looks like is a big difference, especially with the laser cut invitation styles.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, because the laser cuts, there's literally probably about 20 different photos that get recycled, and they look gorgeous. Now, from what I've gathered, I've come down to the fact that there's only one actual company in America, and I think they're in Syosset, New York, that actually does the laser cuts. And I got a hold of them. I ordered the samples, all very nice. The problem is on the more delicate cuts, the laser, which actually cuts the envelope or the pattern, gets so fine that the edges rip. So when you're ordering them, if you're ordering that style, you need to order an extra 20, because you're going to get a lot of cuts and rips on them.
Right.
And if you order white, there'll be burn marks potentially on the inside. I'll give you one last one with the laser. If you notice, well, I don't know if you guys notice, but all the portfolio pieces on Pinterest and everywhere have it. It's sort of like a gatefold where the flaps are laser cut. They're always open, and you see the invitation on the inside. The problem is when you fold the gate over it, it looks terrible because it's covering the words and it looks all mishmash. So those are a few tidbits that I would suggest to brides, grooms looking for invitations online. Just order samples and understand that if it's only a couple $100, it's probably a reason why.
Wow, that's incredible, insightful information.
And then you add $200 for stamps. So, it's costly. That's why I only do custom, where I literally start on an absolute blank screen. I design whatever you want. I get a lot of themed ones, so I've done Game of Thrones weddings, friends weddings, that kind of stuff. I'm also not cheap. So
That's good. I'm glad, Lorenzo, you're not cheap. There's a lot of cheap
I'm not.
players out there, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But the cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, I mean, there are couples who you guys have met. I'm sure that it's almost baffling, but some of them are just like, they don't care about the music. They just want someone to DJ. But they care about the flowers and they care about the food. Every couple has their things that they like more, that they're interested in more than the other, and willing to pay for it. Some do like the invitations.
I had a client today, I spoke with, and we went kind of back and forth, and she said, I've allotted $1,000 for my wedding, my reception. I said, okay. And we heard all about good things about your company, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, how did you come up with that number? Well, that's just all we allotted.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, I can help you, but, are you looking for the best DJ in the company to do that? So, you're right. And I asked her how she came up with that number, and she, didn't really give me an answer, but that's what we have, and you're going to meet it. And yet we heard wonderful things about your company, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So, okay, well, I'll find that for you, but don't think you're getting our top-notch DJ. For that. So, look, we all shop, right? If you want to go out with your car, you're going to shop, but we try and shop for an intelligent price for a quality product. And, but what I found in this industry is this is your wedding day, wedding day. You don't get a second chance at it. Why would you bottom shop? I mean, at least if I were, looking for a wedding, I would start from the top and work my way to the bottom, opposed to work from the bottom up to the top. But some people do that. I'm going to start at the bottom, and okay.
I think it also comes down to, though, what's important to the couple on that special
what's
day.
important to them.
Yep.
And I think where Lorenzo comes in is that, if obviously, people, I agree. I think Pinterest disappoints a lot of people.
It does. But it
things.
helps too. So it's like back and forth, right? It kind of like does hurt and does help.
Right. But I mean, I know, like, there's a florist I talked to here, And I know there's several times, hey, can you do this lighting design? Oh, hey, can you do this, this flower arrangement? Sure, but it's not going to be $40. You do know how expensive those flowers are
Right.
in that photo, and that's like a $500. Like, what, 500 from 40? Yeah, I mean that's the difference. And like, I know the work that you do, I mean, literally, it's legitimately all custom.
Yeah.
If you want, I mean, if you're looking to be different than everyone else in your, your family members or your friends, I mean, I know the paper material that you use, because you do all our print material.
Yep.
You've designed, I think, 6 websites for me now. And literally, I mean, everything is unique. You can't, I mean, you might find similar, but it's legitly unique. And same thing with couples. I mean, if you're looking to be impressive or do something nice, and yeah, you have tons of different options, but if you really want to do a custom piece from start to finish and be unique, and then one of the things I like to do is, specifically when it comes to invitations, because to me, I think that's kind of, in some respects, maybe possibly the foundation of, your branding of your wedding, per se. Would you say that might be somewhat accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I think that couples like the phrase of being branded. Like it sounds cool, like it's a hip phrase. But you talk about the monogram, right? The gobo, like that kind of style, right?
Well, not even the monogram, but I use, like, I'll take their invitation, and then, like, if I'm doing photo booth for them,
Yep.
I'm going to put that image on their photo booth strips. Yep. Because I want everything to match.
Yes.
And then if you're going to do, you have seating assignments, and you're going to put up a board, or you're going to do whatever. I mean, wouldn't you want whatever you started out with to be on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, yes. So, and I've told you this before, Wyatt, but outside of food, which is debatable, outside of drinks and music and lighting, and when I say lighting, I mean like a light bulb. Those are the 3 basic things you need to get married, right? Everything else to me is luxury items. Now, to what level the luxury items are, whether you do a photo booth or you just have your cousin with a camera, right? There's different levels of it. So, and I know I've told Wyatt this several times, I don't get romantic about my business, and I don't get romantic about what I offer, because what I offer to me is a luxury item. So if I did a custom wedding program and I did the name board, escort cards, all that stuff, when you see it and you see it play out, it looks fantastic. But that day for that wedding couple, if they don't have it, in truth, and I know this, they won't miss it. So I don't get upset when a bride comes to me and says, you did our invitations, blah, blah, can you do this? Like the escort cards, right? As an example, the tent cards or whatever style you want. What ends up happening is that for me, it costs more to print because I'm doing them individually rather than them going to like Zazzle or somewhere. So I get them done from the wealthier couples. From other couples, I don't. And it looks great when it's there at the table and it pulls the whole day in. But there's been plenty of weddings where I didn't do it for them and the day still was great. So I don't take it personal. I don't get romantic about it. I snicker a little, saying that, okay, it's fine if you're going to go somewhere else where the price is comparable, because you're not going to get nearly the same service. But I just take it for what it's worth, and I just move on with it. But it's always a nice touch. Yes, definitely. All that stuff, the strips, everything.
Right. And then, and I think one thing about Pinterest, though, and we kind of we discussed it, but I think just couples that are listening to this podcast, and when you look at Pinterest, and don't get me wrong, I'm on there. I post a little bit, not as much as I would like to, but and I get emails of the different because I post lighting design, so then I get lighting design pictures back to me. And I'm looking at those lighting designs, and I start looking at, okay, where's the lights at, and what's this, and what's that, and I'm like, there has to be like 100 lights in some of these rooms, and then trying to duplicate that for for a specific budget. I mean, sometimes it's just not going to happen.
Well, I think your challenge is to provide the lighting for or the lighting marketing, so that within your budget of the low end to the high end, so that for the most part, if a bride comes to you and wants everything, but the lighting is just too expensive, and she doesn't book you because of it, then you have to debate whether if I had a lower end lighting and said, okay, what can you afford, and then I can make it work just to get the whole event. There's that side of it too. Or you could just go high end, because I think if you're at the in this industry and you're shopping around, I would tell brides either go real low end and expect low on certain things, and go real high end and expect great things from that. And if you go in the middle, you're going to die.
Wow. I like that. I like that attitude, Lorenzo.
Because you don't know what you're going to get. Because the middle could be $1,000 or it could be 400. And if you do the $1,000 one and the limo sucks, then you're like, I'm out $1,000. But if you go low and you're like, it gets a flat tire, well, I spent $250. Get over
Well,
it. That's truth.
Lorenzo, yeah, it is truth. And as you know, I'm from New Jersey and born and raised in New Jersey. I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Yes.
I was driving limos. This was before I DJ'd. I was in between gigs. I was a Broadway performer. I traveled all along the United States doing Broadway shows. This was in between gigs. I was not DJing. I was driving limos.
Yes.
And we were in Monmouth County, and there was Lorenzo, you'll appreciate this. We were going from the church, 3 limos, from the church to Monmouth University, where the reception was.
Yep.
And 1 out of the 3 limos made it there. Like, wait, Lorenzo, I'm not lying. The first limo broke down. Okay, no problem. The people poured into the second limo and the first limo, and then the second limo broke down. They had to call their people, and pickup trucks were picking them up. And I was driving the first limo, my limo, but it was like it was a. And to be honest, the limo company I was driving for was a low end limo. I've had a great career in my life, but it was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But they got what they paid for. They went low end, they got low end, but man, was it a trip. But we all, they all end up making it to Monmouth University for the reception, but in pickup trucks, some were. But man, that was a crazy night. That was one crazy.
Is this company still in business?
I'm not going to respond to that, Lorenzo.
Okay.
Probably not, and I don't think so.
Okay.
Much longer after that particular event.
Gotcha.
But it was a learning experience, and that was before I even DJ'd wedding. At that time, I was an actor in between gigs. Who didn't? I was like, I'm going to end up a wedding DJ. Yeah, and I ended up a wedding DJ.
Yeah, you did.
But I'm so grateful for my New Jersey experience. I can go on. This program is not going to be long enough for me to tell you all about.
I heard your story. I listened to the first couple of episodes. Don't you think I didn't sneak on that?
No, but Lorenzo, there's stories in between.
Well, I'm sure there are. That's
yeah, but Jersey. I miss Jersey. I miss Jersey's episodic in so many ways. I DJ here in the Washington D.C. area, and wonderful, wonderful clients. But Jersey was different. It was special because I deal with New Jersey, Northern Jersey, New Yorkers. It was incredible. It was an incredible time, incredible place.
It has changed in the past 5 years dramatically. This industry here in New Jersey, dramatically.
How so?
Well, you brought up limos. The limo companies are going out of business because nobody's getting married in churches. So that's
okay. You got me. You're right.
Nobody's getting married in churches. So I work with a couple of limo companies, or I have in the past, and I warned them about this, and I told them what direction they could think about going towards, as in market yourselves towards the more ethnic cities like a Jersey City, like a Newark, where Latin families still get married in churches, and the North Jersey families are getting married down the shore more and more. So I see that change. I see that the more you're in the middle, the more you're dying out, because you just get mixed up with everything. So you take someone like on the higher end of the DJ industry, they do well because they get the higher end or the wealthier or the client who wants to spend more. And then on the lower end, you can, for like a DJ in Jersey, right? The magic price is always, in the past several years, the magic price is $1,700. That's the magic price.
Okay. Yeah, about there.
Right. So if you're starting out, you come in at 1,400, you're going to win out because you're at the low end, but you're close.
Right.
It's the ones that go at 1,700, 1,800. At that point, you're battling with 3 other DJ companies who are going to promise something different than you did.
True.
So it's sort of like you either got to go high end and say, I'm going to remove 80% of the clients, but I'm going to get the high end 20, or go to the bottom part, learn your chops, and do the $1,400 wedding, do 30 more of them, and then go to that higher. It's the ones in the middle, they're all fighting each other, so when brides go out there, they see prices, and every price they see is 1,700. They don't know what to ask. They ask for the price, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
Right. Out here in Southern California, it seems to be like the price is like around 1,200. And that's kind of like the low end. I wouldn't say low end, but because there's still a lot of DJs that are still 500, 600, 900. Because I started with this, I haven't really done anything with it, but observation. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Bark, but it's like, I guess, wedding couples go online and they submit their budgets or whatever, and then they send this kind of like a little tasker out to anybody and see if anyone's interested in doing the job. And then if you're interested in doing the job, you pay like a small little fee or points or whatever that you bought, and then you can bid on the job. But I guess I see a lot of even below that 1,200 price point, and it kind of makes me a little nervous. But I guess you come down to you pay for what you get, but
you have to get lucky at that point. It is playing the lottery. If you're looking for a wedding DJ at $500, that's what you can afford, or you don't care, and it's basically like just a glorified Spotify. Someone like I would never get offended at someone who did that. I wouldn't care, because if you ask me about cars, I literally need 4 wheels and a radio. Like, I don't give a crap about your bougie Audi, your BMW. To me, it makes zero difference. I think they're beautiful cars. If I sat in it, I appreciate it, but like, I'm not spending $60K on it, right? But that's me. Someone else, my brother, who's a mechanic, thinks I'm absolutely out of my mind. So it's real. I just never get upset about it because
soup cans on wheels.
I mean,
all soup cans on wheels. Some are just more expensive than others.
Yes, yeah. So the difference is, or the X factor here is that it's a question of, like, if I buy a crappy car or I buy a good car, I'm still expecting the car to work. Whereas if you're doing it in the service industry, if you spend low rent money, you have to understand that the guy might not show up.
Right.
Big difference.
Yeah, not even showing up. Okay, you showed up. Is your equipment, do you have good equipment? Are you trained? Can you MC? Are you going to introduce? Look,
I don't know that equipment is a big factor anymore, though. I mean, I see DJs that are, they might not carry the huge brand names, but they still have something that's decent.
Dude, your clients have no idea. They don't care at all. That is a total DJ thing.
Yeah,
the clients
they're not.
Have no idea.
I think I think the difference though is the, playing the right. I mean, I have 38,000 songs, but really, I just need to find the right one, the 100 tracks, that I need to play that'll be the right songs. And then I think it comes down with the training part. You're right about, getting that dance floor motivated and doing different things like that. And I think that's the part where you can't put a price on. There's no way to compare it. And I think, wedding couples are trained to, they're shopping by price because that's the only thing they know how to do. Yeah. Does how many hours? Yes. How many people does it come with the package? And then, being very specific so they can do the comparison, just kind of like, if you're buying something at Best Buy and you're, doing the little drop down to do the comparison between them, but you can't compare. It's entertainment. You can't compare, talent levels.
You can expect certain things at a certain price point, but the end result is that you're talking about human beings, and it can be challenging for brides who have so much going on, and grooms as well, have so much going on, and they're getting hit with all these invoices and all this stuff, and it's like, Now on top of it, I have to even wonder if you're going to show up like that. And I say dude or guy because, to be honest with you, it's only guys who would do that. The women who enter this world have to be tough as nails that they wouldn't dare miss anything.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't.
Lorenzo, I think you're in New Jersey, and I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I DJ'd in New Jersey with a wonderful company,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think your region is different. I think it's more competitive.
Yep.
I think you guys are more aggressive, and on a lot of levels, I think you guys are better in a lot of ways. You have to be to survive.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, as we wrap this up, what can you tell us about you and what you do, and what brings you above the clouds, from some other company in your region?
As far as the wedding day design and invitations and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
tell us about what your field of expertise is.
Well, I mean, just from spitting out the past 35 minutes, I know this industry, and I know that. Yeah. So when it comes to things for like their wedding day stuff, uh, they're sitting and meeting with me. Um, and I'm telling you, if you can look at my reviews on Wedding Wire, The Knot, wherever, I'm invited to every wedding. And it's because I go through an entire, more than anybody, I meet them at Save the Dates. I talk to them with invitations and their parents, and we talk about who's paying for it. And mom and dad are divorced, and dad's new girlfriend is a jerk, and she's going to be at the wedding. And how do we put it on there? And then the next thing you know, we're laughing about other things, and then we go into the day
You
of
get
stuff.
real. You get real.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm empathetic, sympathetic on every
Right.
level, but I also
Yeah.
don't just say, "Look, this is going to be $400." It's not
Right.
not going to be the case. So,
Right.
uh, but yeah,
Well, I think you just nailed something on the head right there. I mean, yeah, you can go online. Yeah, you can get it cheaper, but I think I get asked a lot of times, well, why? Yeah, you're right. How are we going to introduce that? How do I, get around that girlfriend? My parents hate each other. How do we present this so that there's peace and happiness in the family dynamics?
yeah. The best thing I tell
and I think
couples
that's
is,
kind
as
of,
I always tell them, there's the battles and then there's the war. If mom and dad want to be on the invitation, put them on the invitation. It's not a big deal. If this or that, and I've dealt with like couples who dad has passed on. How do we put that on there? Like, and I always say, look, make yourself be happy about what's on there, but like, don't spend too much time. Don't cause any rifts with the family. The last thing you want is that you end up getting what you want, and then your dad's 3-year new girlfriend doesn't come to the wedding, and then your dad's like, I don't know if I can go. And like, just be reasonable with it. It's just a battle. It's not the war.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Lorenzo, that was amazing. And I think you have a lot to offer the industry. I hope that you strive and keep striving for success with your clients and all that you do. It's an amazing industry, but yet it is an industry where we battle for product and to win over our clients.
Yes.
And it sounds like you got your game together. I hope you keep it together and keep moving on, keep it on.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Lorenzo.
Yes.
So Lorenzo, if wedding couples want to get hold of you for you to do some invitations, do some design, do some artwork,
Sure.
How do they get hold of you?
So you can go to Sophia plus Abby. Sophia is SOFIA, which is my daughter's name. PLUS for plus, and Abby is ABBIE, which is my dog's name. So it's SophiaPlusAbby.com, Instagram, and all the usual places as well.
And for any wedding planners or anyone who's in the wedding industry, and I think that's one of the things that attracted me to having you do pretty much all my wedding stuff,
Yes.
And then some, is because you do wedding stuff for other people, so therefore you kind of get what's going on. So how do people find you for that?
So for that, I do every brand identity, web development, trade show stuff, consulting, and that you can find at screaminglunatic.com, which the irony, of course, has nothing to do with weddings except for the name possibly, but I do specialize in the wedding industry for the past 15 plus years. So screaminglunatic.com for that. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so I think we'll put a bow on this one. So if you're looking for any more details, you want to find Lorenzo's details, it'll be on our blog on theweddingzilla.com. Feel free to send us a note, leave us a message. We're always looking for new guests that we'd like to have on the show. We're also looking for topics from our wedding couples that listen to us. So if you have anything, drop us a line. Let us know that you're listening. We have some fabulous things coming up. So Lorenzo, thanks for being on.
Appreciate it, guys.
I think that's it.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks, guys.
The Weddingzilla Podcast. Everything and everyone you need to hear while planning your wedding. Tons of resources are on our website, too. And you can submit ideas for future episodes. Visit theweddingzilla.com. Theweddingzilla.com. And stay connected. Stay connected on Facebook and Instagram. At The Weddingzilla. At The Weddingzilla. The Weddingzilla Podcast.